Imagine a storm raging over the ocean. Waves crashing against a cliffside where a single rock stands, unmoved, as the wind screams past it. This isn't just a rock, it's a metaphor for your mind. The Buddha once said, "The wise are like that stone, unshaken by praise or blame, untouched by the chaos of the world." But how do we become that rock? How do we stop the storms of life, the criticism, the stress, the heartache from eroding our peace? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about building a mind so steady, so resilient, that even the fiercest gales of life can't knock you off your feet. Life, as the Buddha taught, is a dance of opposites. One day, you're riding high on praise. The next, you're drowning in blame. You clutch at joy, only to have it slip through your fingers like sand. Gain and loss, fame and disgrace, pleasure and pain. These are the 8 worldly conditions, the unavoidable tides of existence. Picture a fisherman on a rickety boat, grinning as his nets bulge with fish, only to curse the sky hours later when a storm tears his catch away. That's life. It's relentless. But here's the secret. The problem isn't the storm. It's how tightly we grip the boat. A monk once told me a story about a young student who couldn't bear criticism. Every harsh word chipped at his confidence, leaving him brittle as dried leaves. One day, his teacher handed him a cup and began pouring boiling water into it. The student yelped, dropping the cup. "Why did you let go?" the teacher asked. "Because it was hot," the student snapped. The teacher smiled. "So when the heat of blame scalds you, why do you cling to it? Let it go. The cup doesn't burn itself." The lesson: pain isn't optional, but suffering is. We choose to hold the cup. This is where mindfulness comes in, not as a buzzword, but as a lifeline. Imagine your thoughts as clouds passing over that steadfast rock. Some are dark and heavy, others light and fleeting. You don't control the clouds, but you can choose not to live in them. A woman I once knew, a nurse in a hectic car, told me how she survived the chaos by anchoring herself in her breath. When a patient screams or a monitor flatlines, she said, "I feel the panic rise, but then I breathe. One inhale, one exhale. The storm doesn't vanish, but I stop drowning in it." That's the stable mindset the Buddha spoke of. It's not numbness, it's clarity. But stability alone isn't enough. You need resilience, the grit to bend without breaking. A friend of mine, a single mother who lost her job during the pandemic, described resilience as falling apart in the shower so the kids wouldn't see, then piecing myself back together before turning off the water. The Buddha called this samsara, the cycle of falling and rising, again and again. Resilience isn't about avoiding the fall. It's about loving yourself enough to keep getting up. Here's the tricky part. You can't control the world, only your response to it. Think of a gardener who obsesses over the weather, raging at every downpour or drought. Now imagine another who tends her plants regardless, knowing rain and sun are beyond her. Which garden thrives? The second, obviously. The Buddhist teachings on control are brutally simple. Focus on your plot. Water what you can. Let go of the rest. When someone hurls insults, you can't stop their words, but you can refuse to plant them in your mind. But the ego loves to argue. They hurt me, it whines. They ruined everything. Sure, blame feels good, like scratching a mosquito bite, but it only deepens the itch. A man once wrote to me, furious at his cheating spouse. "I want her to suffer," he seethed. I asked him, "Will her suffering unbreak your heart?" Silence. Then, slowly, he began to see. His anger wasn't a weapon. It was a chain. Letting go wasn't about mercy for her. It was freedom for him. Which brings us to self-compassion, the most radical act of rebellion in a world that profits from your self-doubt. The Buddha never said, "Love others instead of yourself." He said, "You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." Picture a mother cradling her crying child. Now imagine turning that tenderness inward. That's self-compassion. It's not narcissism. It's recognizing that your pain matters, not because it's special, but because you matter. A CEO once confessed to me that he built his career on self-loathing. I thought hating myself made me hungry, he said, but it just made me hollow. His turning point: a heart attack at 45. Lying in a hospital bed, he realized he'd spent his life chasing validation from people he didn't even like. Now, he starts each morning by placing a hand on his chest and whispering, "You're enough." Simple. Yes. Easy. No. But as the Buddha knew, the simplest truths are often the hardest to live. So, how do we weave all this into daily life? Start small. Next time you're stuck in traffic, notice the rage rising and laugh. Think, there's that old impatience. Hello, friend. When a coworker takes credit for your idea, breathe. Ask yourself, will this matter in a year? A decade? And when the world feels heavy, return to the breath. Inhale, this is temporary. Exhale, I am not. The rock on the cliff isn't fearless. It doesn't win against the storm. It endures by refusing the fight. It exists, steadfast, as the wind howls past. That's mental strength. Not the absence of pain, but the certainty that you're bigger than it. Not the denial of storms, but the quiet knowledge that they'll pass. So here's my challenge to you. For 1 week, act as if your mind is that rock. When praise comes, smile and let it go. When blame strikes, nod and let it go. When joy arrives, savor it, then let it go. Watch how the world keeps turning. Watch how you survive. The Buddha's final words were, "All things fade. Work diligently." In other words, everything you fear will end. Everything you cling to will slip away. So stop clinging. Start living. Be the rock, not the storm. And when the winds die down, as they always do, you'll still be standing, solid, serene, and unshaken. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Let's journey deeper into wisdom together, one video at a time. Your peace is worth it.